your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.
Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, California, Los Angeles to be specific. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Agree to Disagree. I'm your host, Brian Engelman, as I have been for the past 3 years. Well, alright, I guess for being specific, it's more like the past 2 years and 51 weeks. Wait, hold on, my math is wrong. 52 minus about, let's call it 4, let's say the past 2 years and 48 weeks. Either way, we have our rough anniversary, our rough birthday party. You know, it's kind of like when you adopt an animal, and if you haven't done so, I recommend that you do, or at least consider it. Go adopt a shelter cat or dog. You know, but when you adopt an animal, you don't know their exact birthday sometimes, so you just kind of, all right, you're St. Patrick's Day. All right, you're going to be Christmas. That's your birthday. You're April Fool's. But no, a fairly accurate birthday for thenewamericanmedia.com was about on or around May 1st. The idea kind of came to fruition when I was in New Mexico for about 6 weeks building off-the-grid self-sustainable homes called Earthships. Take a look at those. They're really cool. Actually, I think I have a couple videos on thenewamericanmedia.com and on the YouTube channel, so scroll around there when you get a sec. But yeah, it was just something about being out there. It's old Native American land up in the mountains of Sangre de Cristos, and that it's an energy center. There's a lot of vortexes, and anyway, it's a place where a lot of dreams can become reality. And it was right around the time Fukushima hit, and I just decided, I'm going to start a website. I'm going to do a news network. I'm going to do a website. We're gonna cover everything: sports and politics and spirituality and all that jazz. And we've been taking steps over the past few years. So thanks for sticking around with us for the past 2 years and 48 weeks, I think is what that is. And if you're new to the program, thanks and welcome. So if you're brand new, or even if you've been here for a while but haven't really checked out our homepage, scroll around there, thenewamericanmedia.com. And on YouTube, we're youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. Please click subscribe and join the commentary. Throw your opinions and critiques and comments on there. I've been getting a lot of conversation going on the John B. Wells Flight 370 show that we did a couple of weeks ago, and we still don't have answers, so that's still our headline story. It's still the main thing you're going to see when you check out our YouTube page, at least. So make sure you check that out and subscribe. On Facebook, search The New American Media and like our page. And on Twitter, we're at American_Media_. That's American_Media_. So, I want to talk to you about the cosmos. I want to talk to you about whether you think that humans on Earth are the only life form in the galaxy, in all of creation. And I want to bring it all together with this recent interview. This guy you might have heard of, his name's Bill Clinton. Yeah, you might have heard of this guy. And I'm going to read you some of the top comments here. It does put it into perspective. But do you agree or disagree that aliens exist? Do you agree or disagree that aliens exist? That's what I want to know. There's many different ways I could ask this question. I'm just going to say, do you agree or disagree that aliens exist? Wow, how do you even get into this? Because it's a lot of things. It's spiritual, it's historical, it's philosophical, it's metaphysical. But I am a strong believer that there is a God. And that could be agree or disagree that there's a God. But no, we're going to stick to the aliens for a second. But, I was raised Christian, and the Heavenly Father above created us. Okay, so something above, something out in space, outer space, created us. All of the UFO sightings over the since the history of recorded civilization on this planet. Look at the Vimanas. Look at the whole Ancient Aliens series. I don't need to go into all of that. But yeah, I firmly believe that there's other life in other areas, and I don't think that they ever left. I think there are multiple races of creatures, almost like that bar scene in Star Wars. There's a lot of stuff going on, you know. But what are you allowed to know? But Bill Clinton was asked this question by Jimmy Kimmel the other day, and I want to go over this with you and get your thoughts. We're going to break it down, and I'm going to make you a promise. I try to not do that very often, and you know, I'm not very certain of the technology and the little tricks involved here. But I'm guessing if 13-year-old users of YouTube can figure out how to do this, I am going to be able to figure out how to do this. I'm going to link at the end of this episode, or who knows, maybe at some point during this episode, maybe I'll just put it in the middle. My interview with Laura Eisenhower at the Conscious Life Expo. Yes, of the Dwight Eisenhower family, who was recruited into a... well, I don't want to spoil it for you. Let's just say she may or may not have been recruited into an off-planet colony as a child, and she is privy to a lot of information with a lot of unique access. And I just think, you know, people used to talk about, oh, you believe in UFOs, you're crazy. You know what? I think you're crazy if you think that we're the only thing going on, that we're all the universe has to offer. I think you're crazy. I think the tables have turned. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't, but for me, I can't go back to just thinking that this little bubble is all that there is. Not at all. I believe the soul's eternal. I believe there's lots of life teeming all over through the universe. And yeah, Eisenhower talked about the military-industrial complex, and he also talked that there's a lot of stories about treaties that were signed between extraterrestrials and the Eisenhower administration. You've heard that story, right? So somewhere in here, I'm going to link a previous interview I did with Laura Eisenhower to this episode. So you can take a look at that just for a little added perspective. But for now, I'm going to play some of this Bill Clinton on Jimmy Kimmel episode. And we're going to talk about it a little bit.
Hello, we're back. Manny Pacquiao's on the way. President Bill Clinton is here with us. So if I was president, and I won't be, let's be honest, the first thing I would do after putting my hand on that Bible and taking that oath to serve the country is I wouldn't even probably finish the oath. I would run to the White House. I demand to see all the classified files on the UFOs. Because I want to know.
Clinton laughs and he looks down. And then he looks back up at him.
I'd want to know what has been going on. Did you do that?
Sort of.
Sort of.
Yeah, we had... I think it was at the beginning of my second term, we had the anniversary of Roswell.
You waited that long?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's saying he waited to the beginning of his second term. All the stories I've read were that Clinton was dying to get in there to get all that information figured out, and the powers that be would not allow him access to that information. Those are just the stories I heard in the articles I've read. Not certain if that's true or not, but that was my understanding. But, you know, as soon as you become president, and let's face it, if you're a Republican or Democratic nominee, you're pretty much pre-selected as one of these two clowns is going to get the job. It's either him or her or her, this person or that person, really. You got to think that they're informed about all this stuff right away. But then again, when you talk about the military-industrial complex, at the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, NASA for that matter, from back in World War II, that DARPA, all these agencies, that they continue regardless of administrations and presidents. And they probably are the ones that control the country and actually know what's going on. These air quote presidents that are selected, not elected, you know, they come and go. Maybe it's on a need-to-know basis, and presidents don't even need to know. But this is all speculation. So anyway, he gets into this. If you believe that he waited till the beginning of his second term, I don't believe that.
Well, I didn't. And then there's also Area 51. You remember there was a great sci-fi movie where there was an alien kept deep under the ground
Yeah.
in Area 51?
Yeah, we do remember that, and that was where the president came in. Was it Bill Pullman? He comes in and he says, "Well, how come I didn't know about this? Where does the budget come from?" He goes, "You really think we spent $15,000 on a toilet seat?" You know, and that's the black budget. You know, do we really have $17 trillion on a credit card from bridges to nowhere and TSA? So secure. I mean, there's probably a whole bunch of projects going on, whether it's HARP, weather manipulation. People talk about underground tunnels that connect DC to Los Angeles. Super fast bullet trains and stuff. There's probably a lot of technology, whether it's, stealth technology with airlines, with, a lot of the UFOs that might not even be extraterrestrial by any stretch. It's just probably a lot of classified, unreleased information regarding top secret projects, things we're working on, trying to keep other countries from knowing that we have the technology to have. You seen those mosquito-sized drones? And that's the thing about Flight 370 that's been missing for how long now? How does a plane disappear? How does a plane disappear when you can read the license plate tags on cars from outer space? There's no way that Big Brother doesn't have that under control, which is why that story still fascinates me, and I'm going to keep covering it. No new news. No new news? No new information to report. That's what I'm saying. I really have the feeling that this thing's in a hangar somewhere, and that the round 2, when we see this plane next, it's going to be way worse than what we have. But anyway, back to President Clinton.
So first I had people go look at the records on Area 51 to make sure there was no alien down there. And people thought that because everybody who works there has to stop about an hour away and put on special clothing and then drive in and out. And that's because a lot of our stealth technology is made there. We know that now, but there are no aliens there. So then when the Roswell thing came up, I knew we'd get, gazillions of letters. So I had all the Roswell papers reviewed, everything.
If you saw that there were aliens there, would you tell us?
Yeah.
You would.
I would.
And at that point, he nods his head and says, "Yeah, I would." And he drops eye contact and he's looking down at the ground.
Well, I think, look,
Still looking at the ground.
We know now we live in an ever-expanding universe. We know that there are billions of stars and planets
Finally makes eye contact.
literally out there, and the universe is getting bigger. We know from our fancy telescopes that just in the last 2 years, more than 20 planets have been identified outside our solar system that seem to be far enough away from their suns and dense enough that they might be able to support some form of life. So it makes it increasingly less likely that we're alone.
Oh, you're trying to give me a hint that there are aliens.
No, I'm trying to tell you I don't know.
Oh.
But if we were visited someday, I wouldn't be surprised. I just hope that...
I wouldn't be surprised. Whoa, man. You see the crazy eyes he's got on this pause right here. No, but it's interesting right there, that part. I'm going to play that again, because it's kind of important.
suns and dense enough that they might be able to support some form of life.
Because Kimmel kind of busts him out. Oh, so you're trying to tell me.
So it makes it increasingly less likely that we're alone.
Oh, you're trying to give me a hint that there are aliens.
No, I'm trying to tell you I don't know.
Oh.
But if we were visited someday, I wouldn't be surprised. I just hope that it's not like Independence Day.
Yeah, right.
Movie, that it's a conflict.
Well, now we have friendly
Maybe the only way to unite this incredibly divided world of ours.
Maybe a little throwaway line there. Global governance. A new world order. Are you familiar with Project Bluebeam? There was something recently, and I've talked about it before, at Coachella. This big, actually, I think that's, this weekend or next weekend, out in the Coachella Desert over by Palm Springs, just outside of Los Angeles. And they had, I believe it was Tupac performed on stage with Snoop Dogg. Tupac's been dead for a long time. They brought him out in a hologram. And of course, for me, that got me thinking. Because Project Bluebeam, I'm going to tell you about it. Oh, well, I'm trying to click on it to give you a nice, let's just go to Wikipedia, shall we? I've mentioned this before. Okay, Serge Monast, known to English-reading speakers mainly for Project Bluebeam of NASA and associated conspiracy tropes theories. His works on Masonic conspiracy theories and New World Order also remain popular with French-speaking conspiracy theorists and enthusiasts. There we go. In 1994, he published Project Bluebeam, NASA, in which he detailed his claim that NASA, with the help of the United Nations, the good old United Nations. So, NASA, with the help of the United Nations, was attempting to implement a New Age religion with the Antichrist as its head and start a new world order. Huh. Well, that's just goofy. Who would believe any of that stuff? So, to implement a New Age religion with the Antichrist at its head and start a new world order via a technology-simulated second coming of Christ. Because there's a lot of Christians that are waiting for that. So how could you convince Americans to go along with something? Well, make it the second coming of Christ. He also gave talks on this topic. You know, I had a much better explanation of Project Bluebeam somewhere. What is the Bluebeam project? Let's try this one. Dun, dun, dun. Calculated resistance to Messiah will entail human loss on a massive scale, ensuing holy wars. The Bluebeam project will pretend to be the universal fulfillment of the prophecies of old, as major an event as that which took place 2,000 years ago. In principle, it will make use of the sky as a holographic projection screen for space-based laser-generating satellites, Star Wars. These projectors will project simultaneous images to the four corners of the planet in every language by region. The system has already been tested. Holographic projections of the Christ image have already been seen in some remote desert areas. These have only been reported in tabloid papers, so they're instantly rendered moot. They can also project images of alien craft, aliens, monsters, angels, you name it. Computers will coordinate the satellites, and software will run the show and tell. Holography is based on very nearly identical signals combining to produce an image, or hologram, with depth perception. This is equally applicable to acoustic waves as is to optical phenomena. Specifically, the show, which is Project Bluebeam, will consist of laser projections of multiple holographic images to different parts of the planet, each receiving different images according to the predominating regional religious faith. So, you know, you'll have Muhammad in some areas, and you'll have Christ in other areas, maybe the Buddha. Not a single area will be excluded, with computer animation and sound effects appearing to come from the depths of space. Astonished followers of the various creeds will witness their own returned Messiah in spectacularly convincing lifelike realness. There we go. The various images of Christ, Muhammad, Buddha, Krishna, etc. will merge into one after correct explanation of the mysteries, prophecies, and revelations are disclosed. This one God will in fact function as the Antichrist, who will explain that the various scriptures have been misunderstood, that the religions of old are responsible for turning brother against brother, nation against nation, that the religions of this world must be abolished to make way for the golden age or new age of the one world religion, representing the one God they see before them. Naturally, this superbly staged full-scale production will result in social and religious disorder on a massive scale. Wonder what the television transmitters of religious networks will be doing that day. But before this, they have to go through 4 different steps in order to get to Project Bluebeam. Breakdown of
all archaeological knowledge, gigantic space show, telepathic electronic two-way communication, supernatural manifestations using electronic means, blah, blah, blah. That was in Bibliotech... Wow, what the heck is the name of this? Written by David Oppenheimer. Bibliotechopiliades.net. Wow, okay, that's a little bit of a hard one to go through. But you hear what Clinton's saying. Well, oh, geez, I haven't done my Clinton in a while. That might be the only thing that could get us all... Oh, man, I don't have a good Clinton. I got to work on it. But you notice what he's kind of hinting towards here. That might be the only thing that'll get us all on the same page. Read my lips. I wouldn't be surprised if that alien was woman.
Independence Day.
Yeah, right.
Movie, that it's a conflict.
Well, now we have friendly
Maybe the only way to unite this incredibly divided world of ours. They're out there. We better think of how all the differences among people on Earth would seem small if we felt threatened by a space invader. That's the whole theory of independence.
You're right.
Everybody gets together and makes nice, and you
and Bill O'Reilly would be hiding in a bunker together.
Old Bill O'Reilly, he'd every mean thing he ever said about me. I don't care. Look at that.
So, it just makes you want to think about our place in the world. It makes you want to think, is there such a thing as Project Bluebeam? Is there a secret cabal of people that are trying to implement a one-world religion, a one-world government, a prison planet, to trick the masses? Come on, if you have billions of people waiting for their Messiah, and they all see it at the same time, and they all merge into one? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Sometimes it's in these moments, just an interview on a comedy show, where you get a little moment like that out. And I wonder how much of that is pre-planned, pre-scripted. How much of it Clinton might have asked Kimmel, hey, I want to talk about this. Can you feed me a leading question? Because that's what comics do all the time. When comics go on there, they give the late night talk show, hey, talk to me about this, ask me this question, ask me this. I have this whole little skit worked up. I mean, his air quote wife. Yeah, they're married, but I mean, are they really husband and wife, or is it just a political arranged, an arranged marriage for purposes of politics? Anyway, his wife, everybody thinks she's running for president. After Benghazi, I have no idea how Hillary Clinton stands a chance. I don't. No idea. Either she was totally incompetent, or she's totally lying, or they wanted those people dead over there in Benghazi, Libya. Still haven't got an answer. What difference at this point does it make? She said. But with a power family, these oligarchs, these ruling families that have been in power for way too long, that have already been pre-selected to be leaders, you just wonder. I mean, it's hard to think about the fact that, I don't know, maybe this was off the cuff. Maybe they're aliens. That's it, I'm working on my Clinton. I've gotten rusty. So if this wasn't off the cuff and it wasn't just a random conversation, and most of what they do is so well scripted and rehearsed and planned out and orchestrated, is he dropping a hint? Is this all part of the public disinformation campaign to get people ready for what's about to happen? So my question to you, do you agree or disagree that aliens exist? I want to know your thoughts on this. I am a firm believer that aliens have been visiting here since recorded history, and probably much further before that. I think there have been many advanced civilizations on this planet that have been destroyed through natural means, destroyed through plague, destroyed through earth changes, destroyed by God, or lowercase god. Lowercase god just being an extraterrestrial entity with technological power. So I'm going to link up this interview I had with Laura Eisenhower. I hope you check it out. And like I said earlier, I hope you check out our homepage, thenewamericanmedia.com. I hope that you like our Facebook page by searching The New American Media with spaces in between and liking our page. I hope that you follow us on Twitter at American_media_. And I hope that you subscribe to youtube.com/The New American Media. So I await your answers, and I'm curious to get your take on this. Do you believe that extraterrestrials exist? We'll be right back in just a second.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.